Oh, yeah. Yeah, man. That metal gets me ready to talk about beer.
Right? Talk about beer and brewing and all the
bull crap. That's right. Well, episode 3.
Here we go.
Second one in the studio.
It's wonderful.
Pretty excited.
Yeah.
I'm Dave. This is Mathias. This is our first guest.
Yeah.
I'm Jason.
Jason Lowry.
There, buddy. We're working on these things.
And I'm Jason.
There he is. There he is. All right.
It was so low you couldn't hear it. So it's exciting, guys. Good to see you. Good to have you here, Jason.
Thank you guys for having me on. I'm super excited to be the first guest.
First guest.
This show is going to be awesome. I'm looking
the best guest. We probably could shut it down after this.
I don't know about that.
I don't disagree. Let's see how it rolls, right?
Yeah, we set the bar pretty high.
No kidding.
So, what have you been up to?
Oh, just family stuff and kids' sports and building a pole barn brewery and
I know, right?
All the fun things.
It's great. I can't wait to get into that here a little bit later. I want to hear all about everything like that.
You guys will get it all.
Sweet.
Family, brewery, pole barn.
All the things.
Boating.
All those
Gotta
things.
talk about the boating
too, yeah.
Excellent. What about you, Dave? What are you up to?
Nothing. Hung out with you on Friday.
You did.
You and Brian and Ken sat there, shot the crap at the brewery. Oh, and my wife. And my beautiful wife.
Wife was there. So we weren't just by ourselves.
No.
You got a chance to try some beers, right?
Yeah, tried some beers. Had the Soul Stealer first time this year.
Yeah,
very good.
Turned out really great. Nice
red ale.
Red ale for sure.
Yeah. You let me try the new Talking with Your Hands.
I did.
New hop profile.
New hop, yeah. So Talking with Your Hands with nectar on.
Yeah.
So something really a little bit different, a little abnormal for Italian pills, but boy, I thought that it really made it.
Yeah, it's
very nice.
It's very good. First version was great too. But
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Changed it up a little bit, right?
Yeah.
It's good stuff. Dave, one of the things I really love about being here in the studio is the fact that right behind us you can see our logo.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But we can't.
Check that out. Now, this my buddy Dan Smith designed this for us. Got a couple up here on the coasters. It's amazing what he did with just a very terrible hand-drawn concept from me.
It wasn't great.
It wasn't great. It was bad. But we told him kind of what we wanted, and a couple iterations, we came back with this, and forgot to shout it out on the first podcast, but I wanted to make sure, gave him props on that. My favorite feature is the mash paddle with the guitar neck.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Little
sick.
Zoom in right there. BlabberMalt show.
Yeah.
He created that, which is obviously wonderful.
Yeah, he's a wizard with Adobe Illustrator.
He did a nice job.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
So, yeah. He's been up at the brewery. Had some beers.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's table 90 and had some fun with him and his wife. It was
table
nice.
90.
Table
I don't know
90.
what that means.
It's your high top in the bar.
Oh, okay.
That's how we do things, right? So I heard your brother was in town.
Yeah. Other than that, my brother was in town. Mark, he's down in Georgia. His son, my nephew, is up helping Mike and Leah kind of manage the swim school, Liquid Lifestyles. Check out Liquid Lifestyles Swimming on Facebook. If your kids need swim lessons, these guys can't be beat. So
absolutely.
Check them out. But Brandon is my nephew's name, and he got a new apartment, so he's moving in, and my brother was just moving a bunch of stuff up. Had a little bit of a glitch. He got the keys to the apartment. There's no countertops in the kitchen. There's no toilet in the bathroom. So
the toilet's
that's a
small
deal breaker
thing right there, right?
Deal breaker.
Deal breaker.
So got the stuff in this garage there, and when they get a toilet, we can move them in. So
wow, that sounds like a lot of problems on the first day. So
Brandon, when you're ready to move in, let me know. I'll send Mathias over.
I'll come be the heavy.
Big, strong guy. Move some stuff in.
I think I just I saw a meme on Facebook about that, right? If you're over 40 and you're moving, hire somebody, right?
Right.
People like me don't want to kill themselves for a 6-pack of beer and a
pizza. That's a no-go.
But I do it every day anyway, so I do it for peanuts.
Moving kegs all around.
Moving
the place.
kegs all day long. That's what we do. So, we want to continue something from last show, as people were always asking us as we go through the process, where do you see us? How do you find us? How do you see more of us as we go along? So I think that's important for us to kind of hit that all the time. So what do we need to do?
Facebook and YouTube are the main places that we go live. We are the BlabberMalt Show. So go there, like, subscribe, hit the bell, do the things, hit the buttons.
Smash that button.
Out.
Yeah.
I mean,
share, do all of those wonderful things.
Yeah, share it. Yeah, more people that see it. Hit the like, man. What does it take to get a like? Come on.
I don't know. How about we get into the show?
All right, let's do it. Let's
we kind of just did that already, so how about let's move on to the Vorloff?
Move on to the next one.
Hey, the best part about that is that we have it this time and we can hear it.
Yeah.
And it didn't play repeatedly, which is what happened in the past. So
give us some time.
We're good.
Some time.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
So we want to take this time during the Vorloff, our guest segment, to introduce to you our really close friend, brewing compadre, great man, Jason Lowry, right?
Yeah.
Jason won the 2021 Nikasi Brewer of the Year award, right?
Wow.
Also won some other awards locally.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that today too.
Sure.
Jason, thanks for coming on the show,
Yeah,
brother.
we appreciate
I appreciate
it.
you guys.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
Again. Thank you. I'm really excited.
Yeah, I love that beard too. It's shining in that
Where'd
light.
yours go? You cutting it off? I mean,
Cut it off.
the haircut, though, I tell you what,
Yeah.
it's amazing. His haircut, it's insane.
It's fire. I'm digging it. All right. So we have been posting online that we have options for you guys to go out and crack a beverage with us as we move along the night. And tonight we're going to do that before we get started with anything else. I think it's important. Some of our people have been saying we want to see you guys have a beverage while you're talking. So Dave let you guys know on Facebook this week where to find our barrel-aged Clash of Clans. And so that's the beer of the night. We also have a growler in front of us. Dave, what's in that growler?
Oh, that's my resting bitch face. Saison with raspberries.
RBF for everybody that
RBF, yeah.
needs to hear. So let's go ahead and crack our barrel-aged Clash of Clans. Now, Jason, have you had this yet?
I have not.
You have not.
I'm excited to try it.
I brought a big boy glass here. You guys have the samplers.
So Dave had this. Actually, he was one of the few people who had it on. You may have had it on. No, if I had Friday night, we had it on draft. We had it on draft on Saturday at the Winter Warmer.
That's right.
It's the only place it would ever be on draft.
Okay.
One time only. That's all we had. The rest of it's in cans. So cheers it up, guys.
Cheers, bros.
Cheers, fellas.
Appreciate you. If you're at home, cheers to you. There you go.
Nice.
Good.
Strong.
I get that wood. I got wood.
I got wood. So
Yes, I'm 14 years old. That's funny to me.
it is funny.
Aren't we
So
all?
what we did with this beer, while we're talking about it, while you're sipping on it at home, and here in the studio, is that we have our Clash of Clans, which is what I would consider to be a red shilling ale, right? Nice combination between a Irish red and a Scottish shilling ale. We talked about that in the previous versions of our shows when we talked about Vaughn over when he was at Portside before he opened his own book house. In the collaboration, he's Irish, I'm Scottish, kind of blended those together. But as we move forward, it's become that imperial 7.5% red shilling ale. What we did, we barrel aged it in Cleveland whiskey barrels for 2 years, almost to the day. So 2 years.
2 years. Wow.
2 years.
Yeah.
So a lot of oak up front, right? Definitely hits that bourbon notes. I think it's still malty enough that comes through. What do you think?
I agree. It's great. Great flavors.
It's great.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Come on.
Yeah, I can smell the bourbon and definitely that wood.
Do you blend this?
Oh, come on, man.
We're listening to ourselves live.
I know.
So we blend it. So that's a good question, right?
Coming
So
out of the barrel, you do?
Yeah, so we did this time. We don't always do that. With this beer, though, since it's set for 2 years, we wanted to just kind of do a little pick-me-up as it came out of it. So over 2 years, we lost quite a bit of product too, over to evaporation through the barrel aging process. So it wasn't a whole bunch. I think out of we did we netted 7.5 barrels of bourbon out of the bourbon barrels, and then we pushed back in a little less than a barrel, so of fresh that we brewed for St. Patrick's Day.
Okay.
So,
That's great.
yeah, kind of nice. There we go. So we poured the beer, right? We're gonna try yours later, a little bit later, Dave, in the show.
Definitely, sure.
But for this segment, we want to really focus on you, Jason. So you mentioned that you are a brewer, right? We've talked about the awards that you won. We'll get into some of those things, but that's not really your day job, right?
Correct.
So what is your day job?
So I work for the federal government as an air traffic controller. I'm going on 22 years now, so long time.
22 years.
Yeah, dude.
You're not that old.
And I got 3 more, and I'm going to retire. So
Nice.
I'm jealous.
That's amazing.
Nice.
So can you do tell me what an air traffic controller does?
So
Are you
contrary to
on the
everyone
runway
thinks,
and do the whole
I don't
like?
have the orange sticks.
Why not?
That's not me. Well, that's someone else's job.
Okay,
It's
someone
not
else's
air
job.
traffic
It's not your job.
controller. So actually, I'm in a building. It's Cleveland Center. There's a select few of them throughout the country. It's actually located in Oberlin. And when you say that, most people, if you guys are local listening to this, you think it's Lorain County Airport, but it's not. So we deal with all the high altitude stuff, a lot of the surrounding states and Ohio. So it's fun. It's intense. It's a great job. It's what I want to do since I was 5, but I'm looking forward to being done with the swing shift.
Yeah, I
so,
bet. Man.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's good
That's
stuff.
a great job.
Yeah, it's really
Nice.
great. I know.
So you're sitting in your little. Is it a tower?
No, so it's actually a building. Like I said, it's surrounded
Just taking
by
all my
woods.
mind and just blowing me up, right?
I
I
know.
think sticks. I think tower,
Well,
flyovers.
Here's the thing with that. That's a different type of air traffic control. I mean, the air traffic controllers that you see in the towers, but they do a different job than they do. A lot of those guys are taxiing people around, and underneath
Yeah.
the actual tower, they have radar rooms where they direct guys, as they're landing and taking off too. So,
Gotcha.
but they're still considered.
So
traffic
nobody
controllers.
requests a flyby, and you have to tell them that's a negative.
I mean,
Negative Ghost
no,
Rider.
that's probably not gonna happen.
Pattern's full.
Hey, pattern's full.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that your job is less exciting.
No,
I
it's
just
very
didn't.
exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So
Tell me-
you sit in a dark room, a radar room, and it's split up between different sectors. Most of the airports I deal with are Philadelphia, Baltimore, Dallas, and National. So those are the main airports that we space for in my area. But it's intense. It gets busy. It's a good time. It's a great job.
Yeah, you said it before.
Yeah, I love it. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, good. That's
stuff.
great.
Yeah. So that's my day job.
That's
So,
your day job.
pretty
So
exciting.
what got you interested in craft beer?
What got me into craft beer? Wow. So my brother, of all people, early 2000s, I was a Miller Lite guy. Had to have the frosty mug and everything. And didn't we all probably back then?
We did.
Unless you were a trader and you liked Bud Light. But so he turned me on to Great Lakes Brewing, and Dortmunder was actually the first craft beer I ever had, which is phenomenal beer. So he had told me, you got to try this beer, and I tried it. And it was just something I never tasted before, just the flavors and everything. And so that's actually the beer that got me into craft beer.
That's a great beer.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. I've had it multiple times, obviously, but it's still, to this day, it's always a tried and true. You can go back and it always tastes the same. It's great. And yeah.
I would venture to say that there are a lot of people in our area who would say the same thing about Dortmunder,
Definitely.
right?
Yeah, it's, in the area, it was a great gateway
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
beer.
For
for
sure.
sure,
Yeah.
100%. So, Mark, if you're listening out there, if you ever need a collaboration or someone to come in and kind of talk about how that was his beer into craft beer,
Yeah.
you got the segment right here to run for
You
yourself.
got me.
So
I'm
Yeah.
here waiting.
you got him. You got him. You got him.
Uh,
So if Dortmunder was your entryway into craft beer, and as long as a customer, right? What got you into the brewing world? How did you start brewing beer?
Wow. So that goes back really far, too. So probably mid-2000s. That was probably closer to 2009, 2010. My wife now at the time, so there's multiple times we went to the brew kettle and do the brew on premises there and try it. So 2 or 3 times we had to set up because it's always booked up. So we'd have it months in advance ready. Well,
Yep.
literally the night before, every single time, you get all the messages, we can't make it now, we can't make it now. Everybody would flake out. So when we'd end up canceling the thing, and we never did it. So fast forward about a decade, I'd always wanted the desire to try brewing. I didn't know anything about it, obviously. So one of the kids on my football team, I'm friends with his dad, and I was telling him about it. He's like, you got to talk to my buddy Ben Northeim, who I know you guys have talked about and you brewed with recently. And he's like, he's a brewer down at Collision Bend. And I was like, yeah, it'd be great. So,
Benny,
he connected us. Actually, I think the first time I met Ben was at a boxing event. It was a crazy night. We could talk about it off the air, but Ben brought all this barrel aged stuff and got everyone pretty drunk. So anyways, so I didn't think he'd remember me because we had talked beer that night. And we were in Texas on vacation. I got a random text, and it was from Ben. He didn't forget about it. He remembered me. He was like, hey, if you want to come brew at the place, up at Collision Bend, come on up and brew. And which, needless to say, I've never brewed at home. I didn't know anything about it. I just, watched brewing shows and stuff like that, and it looked cool. So I go brew with him a batch of beer, and so it's fun, doing all this stuff. After this long day doing everything, he's like, well, now the real work starts. So I didn't know what he thought. This is as I'm leaving because he had to go do all the cleaning and stuff now, which I knew nothing about. And so that's where I learned that basically you're a big-time janitor, and I know you guys have hit on it before, that you do a lot of cleaning and all that, and that's all the stuff that I didn't even know. So very overwhelming on that big, massive batch, all their brewing system, doing it the first time. So he hit me up a couple weeks later, and he was going to homebrew at his house. So I went to his house and did it, and I was like, wow, this is really fun because it was less intense. Everything was way smaller. But I had learned from the first time, so a lot of it made sense. It was just, obviously a smaller setup, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that got me into it. So then after that, Ben became my best friend with brewing questions, and I literally would text him 500 times a day asking questions, and he answered every single one every time. So he was great. So yeah, that got me into brewing. That's what I got my setup. He helped me pick out my first stuff that I was going to get. And yeah, it just went out of control from there. So I always say it's Ben's fault. I got drugged down the rabbit hole. So
yeah, we were talking about it when I just brewed with them, and he said, yeah, this guy, he went, he didn't get the cooler mash tun. He went, took my advice, like, you're going to end up here anyways, so don't mess around with this entry level stuff.
For sure.
That's probably saved you a lot of money.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
In time. No, you're fine. In time. I mean, what a joy to say that a professional brewer helped you your first times brewing and then got you your system that you needed so you set you up for success. Like, that's a big deal.
Without a doubt. And it's the initial investment up front, buying all the big time stuff, because I got a glycol chiller and all sorts of stuff for it. And
I rolled my eyes in the camera.
But he told me, he's like, if you're going to do it and you're going to be all in, I mean, the money up front's there, but, it can help your stuff get better. And, by nature, everything that I do, if I'm interested in something, I'm 120%, and I'm just all in. So it made sense for me to take that step and do it,
Absolutely.
No, that's why you're my dude, right? We got the same thing together. All in.
I know.
All in.
All in.
I love it, bro.
Yeah.
But for you guys out there, we got some emails last time about us saying that brewing is a janitor's job, right?
Yeah.
We're not knocking that whatsoever because it is
No,
true, right?
no.
You have to be solid in your cleaning.
Yep.
And so we want to lift those guys up because those people make the world go round.
Without a doubt.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah,
So
it's a hard job.
just because Dave wanted to have a chimp do it does not mean that it's
Nothing
not
against chimps either, man.
super important, man. Super important. My goodness. So that's great.
Yeah.
Love Ben. I love Collision Ben. We talked
Ben's
about it before.
awesome. Luke's awesome.
See those guys. Luke has an origin story too. Hope to have those guys on the show at some point.
They're great people.
Great people.
So you're into the brewing. You're starting to brew. When did you start entering competitions and getting some accolades?
So it started really quick. I think I started brewing March of 2019. So just about, I'd have to look at the date, probably almost 4 years to the day. That summer, actually, I was in the Lorain County, or the Lorain Brew Fest.
Oh, yeah.
I
the
came in
waterfront?
second. You won with the...
that was Citra Trails?
Yes.
Okay. You had just started brewing?
Just started brewing.
And you threw out Citra Trails?
Like 3 or 4 months later.
Like this.
Took me 20 years to get to that point.
So that started
crazy.
off, and then that fall, I think the Snobs competition, they had I can't remember what it was. I sent a citrus basil pale ale into it might have been the fruit and spice category, and I got a gold medal with that one. And then
Nice.
it just went, yeah.
I had that beer. You brought me a can of that. That was really good.
Did I?
Yeah, you
I'm
did.
glad you liked it.
You used to bring me all your beers. Emphasis on used to.
Yeah.
I'm just messing with you.
My
bud.
dude has jokes all the time.
No, it's true though.
I know.
Honestly,
No,
that's a good
won the
segment.
Ninkasi Award. He got no time for
No
you.
time for me. Ninkasi, Matthias, Avon Brewing.
I'm just a little man in a big game. That's all I'm saying.
No, not at all,
No,
man.
It's true. It's true. I
Not
have so
at
much
all.
to learn.
So we can talk about that really quickly, right? I think that's important. You mentioned that we were at the we steal your glass, right? Brewfest, Waterfront District in Lorraine. And every year we have a homebrew competition there. And we had a couple emails this past week about how to enter that. So we'll get that up on our site as soon as that's found out. But if you just go to their website, which is brewfestwd.com, brewfestwd.com, they'll have links to the homebrew competition. And both you guys were in that every year now since 2019.
Right.
I didn't enter it last year.
That's why
That's why I won.
Dave won.
'Cause he wasn't
I'm
in.
just playing,
You
Dave.
guys are nuts, man.
Nah. So literally your first beer was the Citra Trails,
Correct. Which is an all Citra hopped New England IPA.
which we are brewing in our cycle this time again at Avon Brewing.
It's a great beer.
Because it's a great beer.
Yeah.
We changed it up a little bit from when you did it at first, but Dave won first with the Blackberry Bambalam, which we talked about before we brewed that beer.
Amazing.
It's amazing,
Yeah.
right? Just mixes really well with the Saison, right? The Blackberry.
Yeah, I like it.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Won some major medals.
Major award.
Yeah, yeah.
Gold,
We did.
silver.
Did good. That was a good beer.
It's good beer.
I love the artwork you guys posted for that too, by the way.
Oh yeah, the Blackberry.
Blackberry Bambalam.
Glasses. Yeah,
And you had to
cool.
sing it. It's part of the deal. But let's talk about the Citra Trails.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you got second that year. And honestly, it was, as any UFC fighter or anybody else, it was a split decision because they were both really good beers. And everybody was blown away by the fact that someone brought a hazy in a can that was, I'm not going to lie to you, was better than probably half of the beers that were at the actual Brewfest.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah, it was.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, you
That's
had a
not me
keg-
saying it. That's
you
not
had
me
a
saying
keg
it.
of it there. And I had a couple. I was like, whoa, this is. I would take this over
Man,
these professional breweries.
appreciate
Yeah.
Some
that,
of them.
guys.
Yeah.
Thank
it's-
No, it was really good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that beer. So it's all Citra based.
Yeah.
Tell us how you did it on your system.
As far as like the whole brew setup,
Yeah, like what are you thinking?
so I do brew in a bag when I brew. So the whole outline with what you guys have on your format for the show is a little different from what I do. The real format in brewing. So I actually do brew in a bag, which Ben hooked me up with that too. I know the efficiency isn't there, and I've had a lot of people say it's not any good when you brew in a bag. The efficiency isn't there. It's not as good. But honestly, if you dial it in, you can make fantastic beer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, on a homebrew scale, you add a couple extra pounds of grain. What's,
Yeah.
For
what's
sure.
the big deal?
Yep. So yeah, I brewed that, and like I said, I think I did a multiple step hop in that.
Yep.
Dry hop twice, I think.
Now you have the ability to have a vessel where you purge the oxygen.
Yeah, that's actually a good
and add-
question. So on top of my conical fermenters, I have a spike brewing setup. So like I said, everything's glycol chilled. So when I do the dry hop, when I first started, obviously I'd hook CO2 up to it, pull the top off, because all my cooling coils go down the middle. So I pull the top off while the CO2 is coming out. I dump them in. Typical way to do it. So it eliminated most oxygen. I don't think you can, on a homebrew setup, actually eliminate all oxygen, even though some people say you can. So then I modified to seeing people on Instagram that were putting sight glasses on top, and basically purging the sight glass with the hops in there, which that's what I currently do. I'm limited though, because I have with the spike lids that I have, I think there's an 1.5 TC port that's on there. So I can get about 3 ounces per dump as I'm doing it. So if it's a huge dry hop,
Yeah,
when
do it like
you're
6
putting
times.
it in, purging it, dumping, and so I usually purge it 2 or 3 times. And like I said, it's worth it to eliminate as much oxygen as you can. I'm not going to claim that all the oxygen is actually out of there because I know it's probably not, and that's just being real. But at least it helps,
You
tenfold.
feel
if you're
you get a
gonna do it.
little bit extra shelf life?
I do.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't know. I have so much to learn about brewing still, but I feel that it. Yeah, I feel it's a great way to do it.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
Yeah, it's worth the investment if you can do it. I mean.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I just opened a dump right now, so
No, it's great.
make it quick.
Talk about even on a professional level. Sean over at Noble Beast, he has one of those hoppers right on the top where he's able to purge it and flush it right into his tank. And so it's definitely something that's important, right?
Yeah.
And we have to do other things as well. We open the lid up and we push CO2 through every port possible and trying to keep those things out. And lucky for us, we're able to push those, move product pretty quickly. But you're right. I think that is definitely shelf stable. Less oxygen is really important. So nice job.
Hey, thanks.
It's exciting. So what other than Citrus Trails with us? And you mentioned the Snobs and then the Nikasi, right? Before we get to Nikasi, what other any other awards and collaborations you've done?
Yeah. So I got to think back now. So I won, I think, my second year at the Brewfest with my 2-hop New England IPA, and that's what I ended up doing a collab with Collision Bend, kind of like you did, this beer that you guys just did. So I won that. I won that summer is when I won. So that was my second year brewing. I think I sent 6 beers to the National Homebrew Comp, and I medaled on 3 of them. That's when I got the Ninkasi. And then
3 of them, you said?
Yeah, 3 of them got it, yeah. So then that fall, I entered the Snobs again when they had it, and I think I got 2 silvers there. So, yeah, that's all the awards. I did another collab with Crooked Pecker out in Sugar Inn Falls. So we made a fire hazy out there. It was so good. Eric had reached out to me and asked if I wanted to do a collab, and that was nothing for an award or anything like that. He just wanted to brew a collab, and so I went out there, and those dudes are awesome. They're a trip. It was so much fun brewing, but we made a great beer. So that's it for the, I guess, collabs, and then I can't think of any of the
Let's talk.
awards that
So
I got,
Crooked Packer, we did a beer with them as well. Went out there and brewed with them, but they actually canned your product and put your logo on it.
They did.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah,
It was
that's
awesome.
cool.
They over the top everything they do. It's great. It was so much fun. So
Nice stuff.
yeah.
So the Ninkasi, what beers did you brew and what medals did you get?
Yeah, so I sent, I believe, 6 beers, 5 beers. I got to think. I sent my winter ale, which made it to the 3rd round. It didn't win anything. I sent a California Common that made it to the 2nd round. I think I sent that Citrus Basil ale, Pale Ale. It made it to the 1st round. That was it. It didn't go any farther. The 3 that I medaled on, I got 3 silvers. So I got the American IPA, and that was an all Citra hop West Coast IPA I did for that one. I got a silver for a New England IPA, which
Wow.
I can't remember the hops I put in that one. And then I got the Pale Ale, which I sent a session IPA in because it's very similar. And so I got the Pale Ale one too. So I got 3 silvers. And I know you talked about at the last podcast how the Ninkasi is the highest score out of all the homebrewers. So, and I actually won the Ninkasi, which is pretty
that's
crazy.
great.
So yeah,
So you won with IPAs.
Wait a minute,
like
wait a
it's
minute.
IPA heavy.
Oh, yeah.
We're not worthy.
Oh boy,
Dude.
I have so much to
Dude.
learn. That's no.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a great attitude
It's great.
to have.
It's very exciting, but there's
That's why you're a stud. You have a great
I'll talk
attitude.
about this later on about that. But
Great attitude to have. But
Thank
for real, you can't sit here and not be
gotta
excited
be a
about
little
the
bit
fact
proud.
Oh,
that you
yeah,
are the number 1
yeah.
home brewer.
And the
In the
thing
nation.
is,
Yeah.
with IPAs, it's got to be the most crowded category.
Always is.
There's
far.
by
Always
far the
is.
most
Yeah.
entries. So you win in those categories. You've
Honestly,
done
like,
something.
Yeah, and so I love brewing all styles of beer. My favorite are IPAs. That's just whether it's New England Session, American, all sort. I even love some pale ales too. And that's what I put a lot of my time and effort to. Read a lot about IPAs and hopping and stuff like that. The new IPA is a great book. If you
It
guys
is.
haven't read that, actually you did read that.
Yeah, great book.
I've read that multiple times. I think he's gonna go back and make a second version of it, but I've learned a lot just from that book. But yeah, IPA heavy in that
Mhm.
in that metal run that I had there. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's a big deal,
That's
right?
great.
Yeah.
So congratulations on that.
Thank
That's
you.
a big
Yes.
deal. And
Yeah.
I know it was a couple, not that just this year, but I mean, honestly, that's something that's going to stick around with you for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So as you begin to look at where that's at, and look, you have a shirt on today, which is important. So
yeah.
it's not just
Check
Jason
that out.
Lowry, right? So Jason, when he puts can art out, he has a logo, right? Because you don't just go by Jason Lowry, the home brewer, right?
No.
Oh no.
Well,
Too pedestrian.
no, that is below me,
Oh, I don't
right?
do that. Yeah.
He doesn't do that. If you haven't noticed by now, he's very, 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 very much level-headed of the process.
Yeah.
But Steel City Brewing Company,
Correct. Steel with the E at the end.
Steel City, Amherst,
Correct.
right?
Amherst, Ohio.
So Amherst, Steel, Ohio.
Mhm.
So let's talk about that really quickly, if
Yeah.
you don't mind, right? So this is way beyond home brewery, right?
Correct.
This is a professional brew house on a small scale, right? That's your desire.
Yeah.
And if you go online, we'll talk about how to find you in a second. But you currently are building, right,
Yeah.
a brew barn.
Correct.
Talk about it.
Yeah, so when I started brewing, obviously we talked about how I went over the top with everything. So our half of our garage now is all brewing stuff, and then I ran lines down through the sill plates into our basement. So
He did.
my whole wife's utility room is full of fermenters and kegerators, and our whole overflow fridge is full of kegs,
Yep.
and our whole overflow freezer is full of hops, and
It's starting to cause
everything else is a
friction,
canyon
isn't
and
it?
everything. Yeah, so eventually she's like, you have to do something else, which is great because I'm like, well, let's build a pole barn. And
Yeah.
on top of the pole barn, I will do another side and make that a whole brewing side. So
Now, is this a commercial venture?
yeah, so that's another good question. So I wanted to move my stuff out there, obviously. So and also I brew so much, not lately because I've been building that, which is why I don't have beers here. I know they talked about it last week, and I disappointed Mathias with the
I did
message
not
last
call
night
you out.
that I
didn't
bring
say a
beers,
word
but
about it.
I told him when I brew after we get back from spring break,
let it ride.
that I will bring him some fine beverages.
Excellent. Can't
Yeah,
wait.
so go back to the barn real quick. So I don't know if you guys watched him, heard of Franklin Brewing out of Elyria. So he did the same thing. My whole thing I want to do is basically do cans to go. For now, he did it out of his barn out back at his house for years in Elyria. So that's what I'm trying to do for now. Where that goes from that point, I'm not sure if I go bigger after I retire or ride it out and see. Like I said, I know I can brew pretty good. I have a lot to learn with that, but also I know it's a whole nother form of learning when you're actually running a business, which you know that there's so much to learn in that thing that I don't want to go all in that. So it would be great because now I can do it at my house and I can learn the business.
You
and
can
then,
just dip your toe in.
yes,
see
and
if you
figure
like it.
stuff out. And
Yeah.
then if I want to go open up a tap room somewhere, I go
Mm-hmm.
and do it, because obviously that's where the money is tap room sales. I mean, you can can all you want, but when you have tap room sales, that's where the money is,
Yeah, for sure. So you're looking at even opening up this Steel City
Yeah.
cans to go before you retire.
Correct.
That's interesting
Yeah, so I'll try.
and exciting, by the way. I thought
Yeah.
you were just waiting until you retired.
No, so
But
I
you're
want
out
to
there
do it. Yeah, I'm
busting
going to
hump
file
at
my
this.
license and just obviously just do cans to go. There won't be on-site consumption or anything. I think you could do so big of samples and stuff like that.
We could probably get a glass or two, Matthias. Don't you think? Over at the brew
No,
barn, just hanging out.
Not on
Just hanging out.
YouTube and Facebook,
Oh, okay.
but here off the mic. We're gonna come.
So
We're totally gonna be there.
that's what I want. Yeah, that's my whole goal. What I want to do. Like I said, I'm so busy right now with my swing shifts at work and coaching football and all my kids' sports, and God bless my wife for taking care of everything she does and allows me to do all this stuff. But
She's good people.
Oh, she's awesome. But yeah, so that's what I'm looking to do for the next couple of years. Like I said, there's still licensing involved and everything like that, which I know. I need to get a bigger system. I ended up getting a 1-barrel system. I'll upgrade my fermenters. I want to get a couple 2-barrel and then 1-barrel just jacketed fermenters and throw in there too. So
That's good. That's a lot of beer.
it is a lot of beer for what I'm trying to do. I mean,
Yeah, for sure. And you're currently the progress is that the barn's up.
Yeah.
And you're putting. I saw pictures just yesterday of your cooler, right?
Yeah, so I'm building my own walk-in cooler. I got close to get coolers, and it was outrageous even for used ones. Some of you guys watching probably know Ryan Banyas. Does all the stainless work for a lot of breweries around here.
All of our stuff.
His work is
Sick.
amazing, impeccable, dude.
Sick.
So he hooked me up with Unhitched Brewing,
Yep.
if you heard of them. And so he's like, hit up Adam because they have their own walk-in cooler
Mm-hmm.
that's built. So, of course, I hit him up, and they gave me all this info. And I'm building my own. It'll probably cost me a third of the cost.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm doing a 10 by 16, so it's all I need right now. So
Are you using condenser and
evaporator.
evaporator?
Yep.
Are you going to go with
Actually, the guy just
Cool bot.
messaged me before I walked in. I'm not doing the cool bot.
Gotcha.
I'm doing
Is that
condenser
the one that
evaporator.
pulls cold air when it's cold out? Cold
The
bot?
cool bot?
Yeah.
No, it takes a
It's
home
like an air conditioning unit that goes in the window.
Gotcha.
that actually tricks it to going down to freezing temperatures.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So you probably need a couple of those if you're going to do that. 10, was it 10 by 16?
Yeah, it just depends. I don't know size-wise how much they go up to, if you need one or two or how many it'd be for that. But my father-in-law knows everybody's in construction, so he hooked me up with a guy who's going to get me a really good deal on all this stuff. So,
That's awesome.
yeah, it's great.
Now, I got to sneak in some boat talk. It looks
Boat
like
talk.
there might be room for you to park your boat in there in the off-season. True?
There could be.
Okay.
In the barn?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the 40, so I have the brewing side is going to be a 40 by 40 area. So I have a shop side that's 40 by 56. And that's just for cars and tools and whatever. But we currently dry dock our boat, so they keep it in storage.
Oh, okay. All right.
Just up right on the lake, just about 5 minutes from us. So
Where do you dock in the summer?
at Beaver North.
Okay.
Yeah. So my wife wants to get a slip this year and put it down in the water, so I got to get the bottom paint done and everything on it. So
Yeah.
we love fishing.
Yeah.
My kids love fishing too.
You got a bow rider or cabin?
Center console.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's great because we can fit, I think, 10 or 12 people in our boat, plus you have room to fish and all that. We don't have a cabin to go down into, but it's perfect for what we need. So
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Will we expect some invites to that too?
Absolutely.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
it's good to have friends that have boats,
Hey, everyone that has a boat's the best friend, you know?
right? And you know I'll bring beer.
Yeah.
Of course.
Bring
I
beer.
hope so.
Yeah.
Growlers. I'll bring cans. It's all
Yeah.
good.
This is awesome.
So I'm going to ask you another question, kind of
Yeah.
rolling through that concept. Because I asked you about your cans earlier, your logo for Steel City Brewing Company.
Yeah.
You know, how have you connected your beer to your local area? Because you mentioned that you just sent in a few beers to the National Homebrewers Competition.
Yeah.
You just call it a winter ale, et cetera. But you name your beers too, right?
I do.
So
I love doing it. I love coming up with the concept.
yeah.
and
So
all
let's
that,
talk about that for a second. You know, how do you connect that to your community? Not just Amherst, but the surrounding area. Because I know you love your home and you're big in your city and
Yeah.
and you coach ball and that's great. So
For
talk
sure.
about that.
So yeah, none of the beers specifically are. I know there's breweries that their community they're in. All the beers are based. Everything they name is based off their community they're in. I've had a few that I've named just for stuff around there because Amherst is a sandstone capital of the world, so a lot of rock and stuff like that. So I've had a couple that I've named from that. But the biggest thing is just Steel City itself. Local people, like, they have kids that go to, like, they know Amherst, they think of it as Amherst Steel.
Yep.
So the Steel Comets is what it is, and that's based off, to go back, I guess. So I grew up in Grafton, farm town.
Midi. You're a Midi.
Go
I knew
Midi.
you were a Midi.
Yeah, so, great people in Grafton. I never had the community aspect of anything growing up. So once we moved to Amherst, I realized what it is. Like, we still live in the township, which is, we're just like 5 minutes west of the downtown part of the city, but everybody knows everybody. It's great. It's a great community, and that's what I loved about Amherst. That's why I fell in love with it. It turned me into a social butterfly.
That's great.
So finding the whole Steel name in the school, I found out what it was. And actually, Marion Steele, she was a principal there for 50 some years, I think. She retired back in like 1957, but she was like the queen of just community, was involved with everything.
Yep.
And I loved it, and I still see it, and people talk about it all the time. And that's what made me love the community so much around there. And that's why I was like, Steel City Brewing just sounds awesome because it's just community based, So I put my heart and soul into that name just for the community itself. So every beer in itself, to get back to the question, is not named for there, but the brewery itself is like the whole foundation of it. So,
But your winter ale is called
Leg
Lamp, right?
which is based off the leg lamp from Christmas Story, which
Yep.
is awesome. So
You have a beer that's based around fishing.
yeah, Soak and Bait. That's my session IPA.
Yeah.
I'm
Love
on
that.
with. That's
It's a great
great.
name.
Yeah. So I got to give that to my buddy Aaron. So he's the one that introduced me to Ben because I asked him, like, what's a great fish? And he was like, just Soak and Bait. So that's what I named it. So hats off to you, Aaron. Thanks, buddy.
Good stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
It is cool.
That's cool.
So we mentioned to you about your beer, right? Yeah. So I love you're not talking a whole lot about them. You're holding it tight to your chest, but you have really cool names for your beer, really cool logos. You spend time, effort, and money on those things.
Yeah.
So what about what's inside the can, right? Which makes your beer unique? Like, let's talk about that. Everybody has their own thing, right?
Yeah.
What makes your beer unique, and why is it relevant?
Wow, that's two big questions. Unique wise, I think everyone that brews probably has a little bit of a reason why they do it, or they can come up with a story why it's unique.
Yep.
All I can say is every beer that I brew, I don't just look them up online. I know anyone can Google a recipe and just brew a beer, which is cool, and you can make great beer doing that. But I think the uniqueness of each beer of mine, I spend countless hours designing recipes and just studying which yeast to use and hop combinations, and there's so much more than just brewing the beer. There's so much time and effort that nobody sees, but when they brew it, they enjoy it.
Yep.
And then when they actually find out the 120% effort I talked about before and everything you put into it, I think that's what makes my beers unique for my own beers. You know what I mean?
No, 100%. That's why I wanted to ask the question, because we've talked a lot of times about life, not just about beer, but
for sure,
that idea of vision plus energy equals effort, right?
Absolutely.
Sustained effort. And so that's what we're talking about. So it's not just that you want to do the beer and you want it right. That vision that we have for what we want, and that's why we connected so well, is that we're both obsessed with the process.
For sure.
Right? Obsessed with the process of being better humans.
Yeah.
Obsessed with the process of being better dads, coaches, brewers.
Yeah.
That's who we are, right? So,
absolutely.
That's what I do as a brewer.
Yeah.
And I think that's great. So it's a great way to be unique in your process. And you can tell, right? You're not just cookie cuttering, from one pale ale to the next. Yeah. There's depth. There's complexity.
And you guys both are probably your own worst critics when you try a beer.
Yep.
I'll say, that's a good beer. That's a great beer. I don't know. Maybe I bump up the wheat a little bit. Maybe I'll try this different yeast. I'm like, no, I think it's good.
Yeah.
You know how it goes.
I do,
yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So where do people find you, Jace? How do they find you? Socials. How do they want to see the progress of your barn, or how do you find where Steel City is? Do you have any social media for that?
I do. So I'm not on all the social medias, but I am on Facebook for Steel City Brewing Company.
Yep.
Remember E at the end of Steel. Instagram, Steel City Brewing. That's where you can find me. I mostly Instagram all my stuff.
Steel City Brewing.
Steel City Brewing is the Instagram.
All right.
Yep.
STEELE City
Correct.
Brewing on Instagram. And Facebook was what?
Steel City Brewing Company.
Steel City Brewing Company.
Correct.
Look them up.
Yeah, check them out. Follow
Do
them.
that. Like,
Unique
follow,
beers.
subscribe, share. See the progress, what's going on with you and your family. And while we're at it, right here, the same thing, right? BlabberMalt. The BlabberMalt Show. Facebook, YouTube. Like, follow, subscribe, share. Do all those wonderful things.
All the things.
Hit the
buttons,
button,
man.
y'all. Hit that button. All right. Next segment.
Let's go on the next segment. All right. Well, one thing I did wanted to ask Jason about is we saw you out at the Winter Warmer.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it on the last two shows, but I just wanted to, see what you thought. What was your highlight? What was your favorite beer from the event?
Ooh, that's tough. I had so many great beers.
Yeah.
You want me to go with the beers or start with that, or?
Yeah, give me the beer.
Yeah, so as
Best
I
of
walk
show.
in, my wife goes to the bathroom, and as she walks out, I turn around, Mathias is there.
Not
So-
clear that up. I was not in the
No,
bathroom.
he was not in the bathroom. He was, yeah.
Or
so
in any place around
he-
there.
at his pouring place that he was pouring, he's standing there. And so as soon as I walk over, he's like, dude, you got to taste this. So it was the Masthead,
Yep.
the Underverse, the
So they did
the
that
barrel
Stag
aged
Junior.
Stag Junior, that's what it was. Unbelievable. Like, that was the first beer I had there. And so I drank lots of different beers. That was one of my favorite. And then over at Noble Beast, they had that barrel-aged cookies and milk. Unbelievable beer, too. But like I said, that's not downplaying anyone else's stuff because I had so many great beers there, which is a great event. If you guys haven't went to it, I highly suggest. This is the second time that we went. It's so great just talking to the brewers because it's a 2-day event now.
Yep.
So Saturday, most of the brewers are there, so it's really cool. Like I said, through the socials, I met a lot of these brewers. I met you outside of socials, but a lot of these other brewers I met. So you go there and they know you just walking in. So it's really fun just talking with them. Which to hit back to your other question about being relevant, I think that goes with the whole thing too. As far as staying relevant is getting your name out there and connecting with people. And because craft beer is the most amazing community, I think it is. I mean, just everyone is out to help each other. It's just a great thing. So getting your name out there and staying relevant that way, I think is, one of the biggest things to do, And like I said, there's so much learning to do, but everyone has all the information if you ask questions, and everyone's very willing to talk and help you out.
No,
So
totally.
that's why I love going to it. So
Totally agree. I mean, and it kind of goes to show. So I remember the whole process with you, right? And it's funny to see how excited I was to share something with you that wasn't our product,
yeah,
right? Which is a part of the whole brewing world,
yeah,
right?
oh yeah,
So I'm like, listen, you got to try something. It wasn't something that we brought to the table. It was our neighbors beside us at Masthead, because it was the last what they had. And I saw you across the way, and I got a little tug. That was it, right? And I'm like, you got to try this, man, because it was really good.
It was.
They had won that beer was also the winner of. Yeah, so that's just great stuff.
Yep.
So
I'm 14, and he just said he got a little tug. Sorry.
it's fine.
Okay.
Hey, we love you.
Emails, put that coin away. That's how it goes. All right, so let's talk about homebrew happenings, Dave. What did you pour for us today?
Yeah, well, I just this is the RBF Saison with raspberries.
What's that stand for?
Resting bitch face.
I had to.
Badum ching.
Yeah.
This is your saison with raspberries.
Yeah. It's a little light on the raspberry, but
Man, that's good.
I kind of
close.
knew that going in.
What else do you have in here?
I used the White Labs 565 Belgian Saison yeast.
Okay.
And what did I put in it? What was a noble hop that
I get a nice spiciness with
Yep.
it.
yeah.
The yeast does throw some nice spice.
I think it was East Kent Golding was the
Okay.
main hop, and
That's
Sterling
really good.
in the post.
Yeah, and one of the things that fresh raspberries do is give it a really cool tartness that you don't get in your normal saison that you brew. So while you say it's light on the raspberry, I think that it is, but I'm not saying that's a problem, right? Nice and tart. Hint of raspberry.
I think it's okay. It's good.
What's the ABV?
It's your own worst critic.
About 5.5.
That's perfect.
5.6.
Yeah, that's really good. That's
Yeah.
crushable, man. That's a good beer. Thank you.
Hey, no problem.
Absolutely.
So I realized today that NHC entries have to be in the National Homebrew Competition, have to be in by Friday. So
Get 'em
I
out.
just reread that email. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have to drive to Indianapolis. The first round is in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
So but I ended up I just bottled a couple bottles and went to UPS, packed them up, sent them out. It'll be there tomorrow. So,
Perfect.
Nice.
Nice. So if we do the show and you're the one talking about it and you forgot, make sure you're paying attention to what we talk about here on these homebrew happenings,
Yeah,
so that you
get
can
your
find those
beers
things
in.
out. Get your beers in. Let's go. What
Yeah.
about you, Jason? Do you have any? You said you're going to brew some more beers on the horizon. What's the next path for you? What's your cycle going to look like?
So I got a hazy I'm going to brew probably we get back from spring break after the first week of April. So I have 2 or 3 beers that I want to do. I'm going to do that. I have an American Pilsner that I do, which is really good. And then I've been designing a new American Light Lager, which will be the first time I've done one of those. So lagers are huge, which so many people think the lager game's coming back. I think lagers have always been there. I think they're great. So I want to learn to make some. I made other lagers in the past, but I want to try an American Light Lager.
Yeah.
So
Good stuff.
that's on the horizon. So I also
Well done.
have my barrel. I have an apple brandy barrel. So I have a stout in there. I think it went in at 10.9%. It's been in there for about a year now. So at some point I need to make another batch
Yank
of
that
that
out.
and blend it. And yeah, so
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's on the horizon for me.
Exciting
Is that a
stuff.
5-gallon barrel?
I have a 10-gallon and a 5-gallon.
okay.
So yeah. So
Nice.
Are you surprised?
I'm not.
Not at all.
here we
I
go
mean,
again.
That's what we got. That's what we got.
That's great. Yeah.
So in the pro world, right, we have St. Patty's Day coming up and a lot of beers being released across the area.
Oh, yeah.
And I know I wanted to spend some time really quickly talking about what's going on at ABC because you were there the other day and saw Brian.
Oh, yeah. He was telling us about the menu, and there's like 5 things on the menu I got to have.
I know, right?
He takes that corned beef, rubs it down with brown sugar, mustard, and the spice mix.
Yep.
And then roasts it. I mean, I've had it last year, and it's amazing. And it goes into a couple different dishes.
There's a little special recipe that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the menu for St. Patrick's Day is literally only for that day. Corned beef base for most of the items on the list. You can find it on our Instagram and Facebook page at Avon Brewing CO. Avon Brewing CO. Full list of menu items for us. Corned beef, dinners, wraps, sandwiches, Colcannon, bangers and mash, Patty's pizzas, right? Patty burgers.
Get the beef stew.
Oh, yeah. Beef stew. Making me hungry.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome. We also released, again, our barrel-aged Clash of Clans. Clash of Clans, our red ale, and our
The Soul Stealer.
Soul Stealer, and our Irish Stout, right? Which I think is really good, too.
Right.
You tried that the other day. Our Black Abbey. So that's what's going on in Avon. ZZ's going to be both. Avon's opening at noon on Friday. It's flip-flopping Friday and Saturday hours. So open noon to midnight on Friday, then 2 on Saturday. ZZ's is open at noon on Friday as well.
Okay.
Drink specials, posted those today. Medina, big drink specials again today. Food from Big Dog Daddy will be open again all day there as well. We just did a new beer in Medina. It's called Survivor Series Hop Games. So my wrestling background is exciting. So
Awesome.
Survivor Series at Idaho 7 in Cascade. That beer's on. And Avon, we just released today our Ugly New England IPA, which is a
Okay, yeah.
fantastic
I
beer.
had a preview of that a week or so ago.
And I got you a
think,
small sample of that.
Yeah,
And
it's good.
that is a 8% hazy loaded with ugly fruit, which is a Jamaican Tangelo hybrid grapefruit, tangerine, just a killer hazy.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on in the world of Avon. You see on Facebook most recently, we did not do this year, but it was International Women's Day, March 8th.
Yeah.
What did you see about that?
Yeah, I saw there was a bunch of breweries locally, and they do these events, and there's a lot of snobs, female snobs that are involved. They do great work for the Pink Boots Society,
Yep.
which they benefit education in women who are in brewing,
Mhm.
and they provide scholarship opportunities for people in training in
For sure.
brewing, and it's a really good event. And the beers that they brew are going to be available next month, and part of the proceeds will benefit the Pink Boots Society. So
Heck yeah.
doing a lot of good there.
Yep. Bell Tower, Kent, Hi-Ho, and Cuyahoga Falls, and Birdfish and Columbiana all
Yeah.
did a collaboration brew day for that. So check those guys out. I'll see what that Pink Boot Society beer
Yeah,
is.
we'll let you know when they get released, for sure.
Absolutely. Arche, our friend Ron over at Arche is having a big announcement coming up next Tuesday, which is a reopening.
Yeah, I just saw the video he posted. They really opened up the space, revamped it. They're going to have a bunch of daily events. They have some cornhole boards inside, so you can even, play in the inclement weather. And it looks like it's going to be a great space. And,
Absolutely.
Relaunching with a bunch of new beers and
Yep.
everything.
They
so-
already do a great thing, but it also shows that we listen. When
Yeah.
people talk and they send us emails and we meet them face to face and they give us ideas and suggestions, we don't just toss those by the wayside. So Ron took that to heart and really kind of pulled things back and is going to relaunch with a lot of good ideas from a lot of his guests. So that's exciting.
Yeah, I can't wait to get back down there. It's been a long time since I've been there.
For sure. Last 2 weeks, we touched base about Franklin. You mentioned Franklin as well tonight.
Yeah.
Franklin had their soft opening last week, and I saw online that they were open on Sunday. for the general public. The people were there,
Yeah.
sipping on some beverages.
Yeah.
I think we're going to hang out there, aren't we?
We're going to go. Yeah, we're going to go. Check it out. Little trip down to Grafton. Check out the tap room. I hope it's nice enough. The weather's not going to be so great, but it'd be great if they could have that garage door open. But I'm hoping for a tour of the brewery if it's not super busy.
Oh, yeah.
But I hope it's super busy for them. And they're selling a lot of beer. That'd
Heck
be
yeah.
great. Yeah.
We'll be there on St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day, we'll be there.
What time are you going to be there? Look to the
That's
boss.
the
Look to the boss. Look to the boss.
1 o'clock, maybe.
1 o'clock. So we're
Yeah.
going to be there.
Yeah.
Going to start the day there and then work our way back to Avon Brewing.
Yeah.
So
Start far and work your way back.
work our way back.
Yeah.
I sent you a Starflyer Brewing Company post.
Yeah.
It looks like they are planning in Canton. And if you're interested in doing Kickstarter, they have that available live right now. They're almost complete. But if you're interested in helping out a new brewery in Canton, Starflyer Brewing Company, check out their webpage and their Facebook also for their Kickstarter, which
Yeah,
is
I think
live.
they had like you get a sticker for $5, $10 you get a sticker packet,
Mhm.
T-shirt for 25, and I think 100 you get a hooded sweater, or
Yeah.
sweatshirt. Pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So if you're in that area, back somebody that gets involved in your community. So
Oh,
Yeah.
exciting stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
We've mentioned about Railroad in the past.
Yeah, their center station is open.
Absolutely. I
I
stopped
drive
in.
by and parking lot's full.
Parking lot's full.
Yeah, how is it inside?
It's nice.
Yeah.
The pictures are online. It looks just, it's not exactly as it was in the previous two versions.
Cool.
So they've done some work to make it their own, which is great. They have food, which is wonderful. Their beer's flowing on tap, and they're really excited. They're right by the tracks, and I talked to Tom again, and they're just excited. So their brunch menu looks good. So we're definitely planning on trying to get ourselves over to the center station right there with our neighbors in Avon, Railroad Brewing. Lastly, on the Pro Brewer happening, the news section, we have Green Valley Brewing Company. This is from you, Dave. It's a new brewery in Hudson.
Yeah, I saw their post, and they had a video, showed the inside, and I'm not sure how long ago it was, but they said they're targeting opening spring, early summer. It looks a little aggressive to me by just what that video showed, but hey, man, let's do it. Get it done.
It looks awesome.
Open
does.
some
That's all
breweries.
their
Yeah.
build, yeah, it looks great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
They got
nice.
an awesome brewer too. So
They do. They sure do. Again, up and coming events here in the local scene. This is kind of one of the things we want to continue to talk about is not just beer happenings and not just food happenings in local breweries, which we just talked about, but we want to get into this idea of entertainment, right? What's going on in the local scene, brewing world, and others. So there's a really cool event coming up this Saturday. Brewsology
Oh, yeah, at the Science Center.
at the Science Center.
Great Lake Science Center, yeah.
Yep. Yep. So the deets are this Saturday, 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. That's the 7 to 8 is the VIP. The Great Lakes Science Center. Look up Brewsology Beer Fest. We're going to be there. I think there's, I believe they said between 40 and 50 other breweries going to be in attendance.
Yeah, from what I understand, you can also enjoy the museum while you're there. I mean,
Yeah, fully open. The museum's fully open.
fully open, yeah.
All of the attractions are there, and you can play on all of the devices and sit and touch and read all of the things about the Science Center. So it's all right there.
Yeah, that's cool.
Come have a beer, hang out at the Science Center,
Learn something.
learn something, come say hi, right? We talked about some St. Patty's events, lots of great food. Dave says that we shouldn't be drinking green beer. I posted that on our page, and he's like, don't drink
Don't
green
drink
beer.
green beer, people.
But people are going to,
Okay. All right.
right? We're gonna make our Avon Light green. Our Medina Light is going to be green.
It tastes the same, so go ahead.
Yeah, why not?
Don't listen to me.
It's craft beer. Make
That's
it good. So we have some beer releases. Kind of have
Yes.
your sheet there for you. You guys can look at it and see what's going on around the world so you can see what the problem is. I mentioned that we have our Ugly Any IPA coming out. Dave, what else do you see on the beer release schedule?
Well, I know my wife will be happy that Fatheads is coming out with their lime feeling good Mexican lager.
that beer's
She's
amazing.
really into
So
them, like
good.
Mexican lagers recently.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's a good one we're looking forward to.
I have one in the tank, just so you know. Yes.
Oh, here we go.
Did we become best friends? I think so too.
Clag Brewing in Sandusky, who I love.
Love it.
They
Awesome.
have 2 versions of their Sintu fruited sours. They have a mango, orange pineapple, and a kiwi pineapple. They just came out. And I saw the pictures online. They look amazing.
Phenomenal.
Oh,
Yeah.
have you had them?
I haven't, but I've seen the pictures.
Yeah,
and man,
I
they
got to
look
get out
great.
there.
We love Clegg. So that's going to be on our stop too.
Terrestrial has their peach shredder. It's a Berliner Weiss coming out. And what is their big black furry creature from Mars? A black IPA with Citra hops?
Gotta love those guys.
What?
Got to love those
Yeah.
guys.
Is that a fish song? Is that a big black furry creature from Mars? I don't know. It
I
might
don't
be a
know, but it
musical
wouldn't
reference.
surprise me
Yeah.
if they were doing a fish reference for that.
Sibling and Heinen's collaborated, and they have a barrel-aged French toast brown ale, which sounds pretty amazing.
It does. I like French toast.
Yeah,
I like.
French toast is good. I like brown ales, so
I do like brown
I
ales.
think that's going to be great.
Yeah, your boys at Collision Bin got something going on.
Got a Baltic Porter.
It's phenomenal.
It is good. That's one of their.
Yeah.
That's one that. Yeah, they've had that out before, and that is just a great
Oh,
beer.
it's amazing.
It's on draft down
On
there. Yeah.
draft. So there's lots more beer that are out there. Again, we've kind of talked with our friends over at Northeast Ohio Craft Brewery News.com for a complete list. They're also on Facebook at Northeast Ohio Craft Brewery News. So
Yeah.
check those guys out for the big list. They put them out.
They put a
every
lot
week.
of work into that list, and it's worth checking out.
Yeah,
their new
so we don't want to steal all their thunder, but
Their new content's awesome.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's great.
We'll
Rob
send you
does a
there for
nice
the rest.
job,
Yes, he does.
and now they partner with the Brew Crew, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Fight Crew. So that's exciting. Check them out. So other events, Dave said that he had a random event that he wanted to talk about for Cleveland Taco Week.
Yeah, early next month, it's Cleveland Taco Week. I don't know anything else about it, but check it out at clevelandtacoweek.com.
I mean, I'm
Who
not
doesn't love
surprised they do
tacos?
Taco Week.
Yeah,
They do Wing Week, Burger Week,
the Burger Week is in
Pierogi
July.
Week.
Yeah.
I mean, literally all the weeks. So they hit us up all the time. We have not gotten a hit up for the taco, so
Get
I'm
on
not
board.
sure I'm offended for that. But
Get hip to the thing.
they're also
man.
really cheap. You can probably get about 5 tacos for $5.
Yeah.
What else? Some music events, bud?
Well, I got the Life of Agony show coming up March 25th, Saturday, next Saturday. It's going to be awesome. We're running out of time here, so we got to
That's
speed
good.
it up. We're going April 1st, Temple Live. We're going to Hairball. It's a tribute to all things 80 arena rock. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Got a bunch of friends going to that.
Sounds like fun.
Killswitch Engage,
Nice.
April 15th. We didn't talk. What's your music genre of choice?
I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like, I'll go to
Right.
a little bit of country. Oh,
Yeah.
some old
I could tell that.
hair band shred days. You know, I
Nice.
go to some rap.
Cool.
All over the place.
Oh,
you
that's
know?
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to include more rap events in here. Anyway.
Events in general.
I'm not really into house music or raves at all, but House of Blues is having a Bikini Bottom rave on April 15th.
Matthias is going to that.
I don't really know what that is, but I'm not interested in it.
You do not want to see me in a bikini bottom.
I love SpongeBob. Come on.
Just saying. Just saying. So that's kind of one of the things we're looking at here is what we can do to get more events out there. We talked about last week about the Adam Sandler, other comedies that are coming.
Yeah.
And so, keep track of those things as well. We're definitely into helping out our local community. But also questions, right? What questions do you guys have for us? What do you want to hear about? What do you want to see? What direction do you want to see our show move in?
Yeah, something you like, something you don't like. Should we do more of something, less of something else? Just let us know. BlabberMalt@gmail.com, where you can hit us up or hit us in the comments.
Yep.
Hit it.
Yep. Hit us in the comments. So we have one email question, and we'll kind of do a little bit of a grain out because we're running short on time. Real quick, top of your head, 5 seconds. What style of beer do you wish would become the next big thing?
I don't know. For me, I don't know that it's not a thing, but saisons are kind of a thing I like, so I wish that would be the big thing.
The big thing. Jay?
Oh man, different lagers.
Kind of mentioned it already, right? Lagers.
Yeah.
I think we're heading that direction too. In that same vein, I'm really getting into the cold IPA. Right?
I knew he was going to say
I love
that.
IPAs. I think it's the wave of the future. I've talked about those things before. Haze is here to stay. I think the cold IPA is going to be here to stay too.
Yeah.
I do. I think so. Next week, we have an episode on Tuesday, 7 o'clock. It's not the big
That's right.
production. Going to be a little itty-bitty. But, Dave, on the 28th of March, we have back here at 7 p.m. Who's our guest?
Yeah, we got Kara Baker, head brewer over at Brick and Barrel.
Yeah,
it's gonna be
Kara.
great. She's one of the first people I met at the Snobs. Was very nice to me when I was a new member, and I love her, and can't wait to talk to her.
Awesome. So as we get to wind down, we're smidge over time. Let's email your questions and content suggestions to blabbermalt@gmail.com. That's blabbermalt@gmail.com. Facebook and YouTube at The BlabberMalt Show. Twitter and Instagram at BlabberMalt. Like and subscribe.
Don't forget that.
Punch the button. Share it today on Facebook. Get us some views, right? That's awesome. Now, we have a little thing at the end of the show, right?
Yeah.
Until then, guys,
Stay malty, Cleveland.